Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Haygood. Well, it is time for our first, what I like to think is our first official event of the Scottsdale season. That is the Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championship. I am so excited to introduce you to two polo players this week on the episode. We have Sterling Jones and Ricky Cooper, two very experienced polo players, one more than the other, so I'll let you guess who that is. In the meantime, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. You can also find this video episode on YouTube, as well as all of our Instagram, social media, and TikTok, Facebook, basically anywhere on the web we are at. And if we're not, let me know because I want to be there. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Ricky Cooper, the captain of the Wales Polo Team. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Well, it's official, Scottsdale, and we start our fun season of events and the busy season with the Bentley Scottsdale Polo Match happening on November 4th here at WestWorld. The hats, fashion, and who's bringing a lot of attention to the day, but there's a big match going on, and we wouldn't be there without the amazing players and teams that travel from all over the world. One of those being the captain of the Wales Polo Team, Ricky Cooper. Ricky has represented Wales since its inception of the national team in the 2008-2009 season. He's played in dozens of international matches, including here in Scottsdale. On top of being one of the best polo players in the world, he's also an avid marathon runner and ice hockey player. So in my book, that's like you're an athlete, Ricky. So welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm so excited to meet you, to learn from you, and as we gear up for the tournament. So let me just start with what's interesting and how did you even get into playing polo, Ricky?
Well, that was many, many years ago. It's a pleasure to be here first and foremost, and I love Scottsdale. It's my favorite place in the whole
yay.
world. And especially the feeling of being out there in November when here in the UK it's freezing, but being with you guys.
Perfect weather.
It's fantastic. When you're sitting out there on the horse up at WestWorld looking around, the people I've known since, 2012 now was when I first come out. So a little tiny break during COVID, but we've been there every year. So that's good. Getting into polo, I was very fortunate many, many years ago when I was in my 20s. I spent some time in Ireland and I moved back to the UK. And I moved into, it's an interesting story, Sunningdale Golf Course is one of the best golf courses in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's a links course, and I looked at a house on the golf course and it was owned. They'd broken it down in the war. It was a big mansion and they'd broken it down into 5 apartments, huge fireplaces and, great place. And, I chose a place to live there and I met a couple called Elizabeth and Peter Grace. And Peter Grace was one of the top polo coaches in the world. He was a little later years, maybe in his 60s at that time. And he passed away some time ago, but he was the one that said to me, "Hey, have you ever ridden before?" And the answer was no. And he said, "Well, I've got a job for you in the mornings. Come out, I'll give you horses." So I had 2 this side, 2 this side, me in the middle. I was like a pea in a drum, bouncing around on these horses at first. But it's like anything, you want to get good at something, you train. The trouble with polo is you need as many horses as you can get to keep training because they last 20 minutes or something. You need another one.
Have you ever been on a horse before he came to you? Have you ridden?
Yeah, one horse. Yeah. And that horse got charged by a mare that was just in foal because she was jealous that this other horse was taking passengers. And so I jumped off pretty quickly. But yeah, look, I played ice hockey and goal for Great Britain for many, many years. So that stance of standing in goal is very similar to how you are with your feet in the stirrups.
Interesting.
I was with Shane Doan last year, obviously a native of Phoenix, a great ice hockey player. And I think if you have the hand-eye coordination and you have the strength in your legs, being a goalie, you're going to have a lot of strength in your legs. That's half the battle, and then you gain your balance pretty easy. So I took to it pretty quickly.
Tell me about the game of polo. I'm not really familiar with it in the sense that it looks like croquet on horses.
Yeah.
And then I'm really good at going out in between the games and making sure the field's ready for the next match. Like, down the grass.
Well, you don't have that problem where you are. Here, I live next door to the Royal Berkshire Polo Club. That's, like 10 steps this way.
Oh gosh,
huge
okay.
fields out the back of where I live. And there, because it's always raining, the divots come up because the horses are running at speed, and there's a lot of ground maintenance needed at half time. But for you guys, the weather's so good, you don't need to be out there.
I really think it's more of like an opportunity for the ladies to go show off their outfits just to press down the divots.
That's it. That is it. That's more likely. Yeah.
I love it. You are the captain of the Wales team, something, His Royal Highness and the King himself was a part of. Talk to me about like really starting this team. It's a huge part of the family's, they are a huge part of polo horses and everything as a royal family. Talk about the family really representing you and bringing you and warming you into the family and helping you start this team.
Yeah, so this was back in 2008, and we're very fortunate to have our chairman is a gentleman called Harry Legburke, and Harry's sister is Tiggy Legburke. Tiggy was nanny to William and to Harry.
Yeah.
And I think in, more recent times, I think she's also been the nanny to George, Prince George, at some period of time there as well. So we were very fortunate that we were Prince Charles, as he was then known, obviously was the Prince of Wales and did a lot for, teams, charities, everything else in Wales. So we took on to playing in many different charity games in the name of Prince Charles, and he became our patron. So you obviously apply for a patronage. We were very lucky that Harry Legburke was very close with the royal family and sponsored us on that journey. We're allowed to wear, and you'll see us in Scottsdale wearing the 3 feathers for the Prince of Wales with crossed polo sticks behind it.
Okay.
And this stuff is as rare as you can find because you're not allowed to sell or market this stuff. It's, hey, if you're a member of the team, you get this. So every now and then somebody takes a shirt off of us, which is all good.
All right,
it's all good as we're changing shirts, especially, year after year. We like to donate those to the crowd every now and then. So that's
love
what
that. Well, it just goes
yeah.
to talk about the charity, that the King himself is such a huge advocate for, and for you to do something as simple as that, I know it means the world to people that receive those.
Yeah, and we usually play in, very large games, this being one of them. We play, and you mentioned polo before, and, that you're new to it. Let me tell you, we play on the grass here. We play in the arena at the Berkshire here, where when the weather's not so good in winter in England and across America, they actually play at the Barrett-Jackson event not so long ago. And that's arena polo, which is 3-a-side. Grass polo is 4-a-side. Arena polo, it's pretty much the size of an ice hockey rink.
Oh, that's small.
Yeah, and there's a lot of contact. Obviously, the speed, you don't develop the speed so much, but there's a lot more, contact between the players and the horses. Very fun to watch.
Like on hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Hockey on horseback is what we call it. And then you've got the snow polo, very much the same, played on like a rugby size field or an NFL size field. And then you've also got the beach polo, which, Melissa and Sterling and the guys play in Florida. Here we play in a place called Sandbanks, a beautiful place. We play in Germany. We actually play on the lake there in Chicago a few times. And the team's been very successful at beach polo. So that's been good for us as well. So those are the different forms. Now, when Prince Charles, signed up, our our objective really was to go to as many of these events that are sponsored by charity. So Chicago was the Center Barley charity, as an example, which is, at the time, it was Prince Harry's charity. But we do a lot with Noah's Ark in the past, and that's a local charity to us here. So over the years, we've done many of these big events for charities, and quite often, it runs into hundreds of thousands, and from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity across the world, which has been great. And then you are one of the patronages that Prince Charles takes on. Now, we're at a very interesting stage as he's become king. We're waiting to find out, does he maintain us, or do we possibly go to Prince William? But you Americans will know that, the working royal group has actually shrunk quite a bit. You used to have Eugenie and Beatrice, etc., in that group. Now it's pretty much, from memory, it's Anne, Charles, Camilla, William, and Kate, I believe, are the main ones. So now there's all these patronages out there, and you've got to go back and say, okay, which one are they going to choose? So we're very hopeful that we'll still get looked after, but we can still wear the crest at the moment, and that's good. And in the past, you get to go to some really great events. I was at Prince Charles's 70th birthday party, where he took a picture with all the charities that he represents. That was at Buckingham Palace, fantastic time. And I was there when he celebrated 50 years as the Prince of Wales, which was probably around 2018-19, just before COVID. So yeah, you get to do some good things.
I love that. Well, and the purpose behind it, I think, is huge, and I love that passion. It's really about giving back, and that's huge. I'm such a proponent of that. You have so many memorable moments that you just talked about. Tell me about a memorable game here in Scottsdale match that stands out to you.
Yeah, do you know, there was in the early years, I'm talking probably 2013, we played a game which was ladies against the men. That was a cracking game. Yeah, that was really good, and they're good. Believe me.
Oh yeah, we are.
I think we just about scraped by on that one. It was a very close game. End to end, went down to the wire. But on the Friday night, we had a sunset polo match, and I mean that was at like 5 o'clock on the Friday. Less of a crowd, obviously, because it was Friday night, but they had a catwalk and a fashion show, and all the players got up there. And there was a good friend of ours called Sonny Hale, who has passed away since that time. So it was memorable for Sonny as well, getting to play. She was one of, if not the best women's player ever. And to actually get out there with her and play. And I was on the same team as her the night before, and then the next day,
now you're playing against her.
And we had some real good fun there. And they had the Gay Polo League come in, and it was a riot. It was an absolute riot. You can imagine. They were great fun, and that eclectic mix of people from Europe, from America, the Gay Polo League, the females. Some of them were from. Some of the girls' team were from France and from Argentina, and it was just a great group of people to have together. It was fantastic.
I love that. What are you expecting from this year from the Wales team?
Well, listen, we always turn up, which is fantastic with a strong team.
I expect nothing less from you, Ricky.
Yeah, we've won this a few times. What does hamper you when you travel is the horses that you're given. You're very reliant on the horses that you don't know, and and the local teams, and Jason, the organizer, etc., have always been fantastic to us. We've always been on horses that can at least get going and aren't dangerous, because that's another thing. You never know what you're going to get. But they've always been great to us. It's always good fun. It is exhibition as well. You're playing on a much smaller ground, and you're playing with people that you know and love, Melissa and Mark and, Grant and Nacho and the team. So it'll be good fun. And Nick Rodan will be against this time round. So, everyone looks after each other, and we just want to put on a great show for the crowd. But we are known as the crowd favorites, and that won't change. That won't change. Melissa can't have that title.
All right, I'll hold you to. I'll be there and I'll be listening to see who wins.
There we go.
I
Yeah,
love
there we
it.
go.
So I was going to ask about that. So y'all use horses from here in town because it
Yeah.
take too long, I assume. Do you do that for all of your international travel, or kind of?
Yeah, you have to pretty much. Yeah. Sometimes when we go to Germany, we ship them across. It's a long old journey out there, and they're on the beach. So that's a little bit, a little bit of a long journey for them in that deep sand and
Yeah.
everything else. So yeah, we tend to hire, and we've been looked after by the local teams, but also quite often they use a guy called George Deal, a very good friend of ours that helps ship horses in, I think from California as well.
Yeah.
So we're looked after, and that's the main thing, because it's the last thing the crowd want to see is a few spills, or maybe not. Maybe they do want to see a few
I was
spills.
gonna say, you say that, but see, you've never been in the crowd side of it. You've
Yeah,
been the player side.
that's it. Yeah, maybe they want
No,
to.
we
But listen,
care
it's an
about that.
exhibition, and we let each other sort of, do a few tricks, knock the ball around, and the Wales team will always turn up with a good, strong, solid team,
All right.
and will always bring some entertainment. And ultimately, the amount of people on my Facebook and Instagram, etc., from Scottsdale is probably more than there are from here.
That's so funny.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I see these people every year. It's fantastic. Some good friends. Now you know what they do in life every single day. You've got a lot to talk about when you hit Scottsdale.
I love that. And it really is. And the people don't realize that, Scottsdale and Arizona is a huge horse community. I mean, this is
Oh,
what we
yeah.
started off on. So to be able to bring in this amazing championship polo match and to bring in, teams like you from around the world,
Mm,
it speaks volumes to who you are we can welcome you into our city that we love and adore so much. And you
yeah.
feel that from us. I know as a community, it means the world to us. I'm glad that you feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, even outside of polo, I used to visit Scottsdale quite often because there's huge data center businesses and large IT companies there. So even in my, as I'm older and working a lot, even in my work life, I spend time in Scottsdale as well.
Well, that's perfect because that leads into my next question. My favorite question I ask every guest at the end
Mm.
is, what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
I love Old Town. I'm probably getting too old for Old Town,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Now you're like living up to the name, so you're like, I can't go anymore.
There you go. I'm done. A few years ago, I look at, hey, this is a great place to be. Now I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here.
Now it's 10 o'clock, I gotta go.
Yeah, I love the Phoenician, and being in that area. There's some great hotels around there. There's another few that names escape me. But yeah, for the polo, even when you're there and you're there on business, it's not like being there when you're there for the polo. When you're there for the polo, going to see Jason and the whole crowd is fantastic. That's always good. But yeah, he puts us in. Jason still sends us to all of the nightclubs and everything else to do little appearances, and I'm leaving it to the youngsters right now.
Yeah. Hey, you've done your time. Like you said, this is your 12th one that you'll be
I've done
participating.
my time. That's right.
No, pass
There
it
was one
on.
time a few years ago. There was one time a few years ago they said, "Oh, you can't get there before 10," and I'm like, "Okay, no, that's good." And they had a bottle service and everything else. I walked in at 10, dropped the team off, and walked straight out the door. And because I had to be up at like 4 to go on calls for work, so I can't do this. I've got to get out of here.
There you go. And like you said, you've
Yeah.
experienced it. It's time for them to experience it. So pass
Yeah, but
it
you've got some
forward.
great restaurants there too, some great vibes at like STK and those, and Steak 44. We go there with Jason and the team quite often as well. So it's good places to hang out. And then a couple of times I've been with Jason, the organizer, hiking up in we go hiking. I don't know where he takes me, but there's rattlesnakes and tarantulas and stuff like this. I think he's trying to get rid of me.
Well, let's see. There's Camelback or North Scottsdale. There's
Yeah,
Mountain Ranch.
North Scottsdale, I think it was that we went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pinnacle Peak and Thompson, they're all great. I'm with you. I am not a fan of rattlesnakes, scorpions, or tarantulas. If they all died, that's fine with me. That's how
I think he was laughing at me because he turned up in his hiking gear, and I had like a shirt and pants
you
on.
stand out. You stand out. That's
You
nice.
can't go in that, but I
You
did.
probably had like one small bottle of water thinking it was
I
gonna.
didn't have any. I didn't
Oh,
have
oh,
any.
you're one of those. Great. Now we're gonna have
Yeah.
to rescue you, is what this is turning into,
I
Ricky.
know. That's what I mean. I think he's trying to kill me off so that I can come back.
Well, best
Right
of
there.
luck to you and the rest of the Wales team. I'm so excited to
Thank
have you
you.
back. I would look forward to meeting you in person at the match, and I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to see if the Wales team still is everyone's favorite team when it comes to noise and support.
You know it, Scottsdale. You got to support us. You got to support us.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Sterling Jones. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. If you are not one of the billion people who've seen Barbie, then maybe you've seen him on NCIS, Grey's Anatomy, or S.W.A.T, just to name a few. If anything, you're about to see him at this year's Bentley Polo Match playing for Team USA Pride. Sterling Jones does not shy away from the limelight. Growing up on a horse farm all his life, Sterling also had a yearning to be an actor since the age of 5. So when the time came, he left his love of horses to pursue an acting career in LA. And now he's accomplished in both. So Sterling, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to meet you, learn about you, and learn with you. So let's talk about, you've been in some big name movies and television series, something you've wanted to be since a little child on a horse farm. I think that's amazing.
Yes. Thank you first for having me. I appreciate it. It's a really cool thing that I have a really cool life. What can I say? I mean, I was gonna try to like say something like humble or whatever, but nah.
That's the
Yeah.
honesty part. That's great.
Yeah, I'd rather just be honest and be like, wow, I'm very thankful. I have a phenomenal life and I get to do everything that I love. And so yeah, but yeah, I grew up in Texas, like north of Dallas. My dad was a racehorse trainer. So like I said, I think my first time on a horse I was 3,
Wow.
and then I had my first horse at 5.
You're the kid that got a little pony for his for his 5th birthday that like every kid wants kind of thing.
I literally got a miniature pony. Me and my sister, who's 2 years older than me, we both got little ponies. But here's the catch of it all. I didn't want it. I didn't want anything to do with that life. Like I rejected the barn lifestyle. I was not wanting to be around horses every day of my life. I wanted to be in the city. I wanted to be in Hollywood, baby. I wanted to get away from horse shit. Or wait, sorry, horse crap. Oh, I can say shit?
You did?
Great. I'll try not to say that. You know, I wanted that city life. And then I got it. And then I realized like, oh, I see why people want to grow up on ranches. That all makes sense now. So, but you know, our ranch wasn't like, I don't want people listening thinking, oh my God, it was like this. I mean, it was a beautiful ranch, but it was our job. It wasn't necessarily just like a hobby. I mean, my dad worked incredibly hard to maintain his status as a racehorse trainer in the industry, which and then, you know, we had horses everywhere. So yes, I grew up riding, and I would get so bored on horses that I started doing training myself to do my own stunts, because as a little kid I thought I'm going to be an actor one day and I'm going to be in a Western movie and they're going to ask me, can I like fall off a horse? And I want to be like, yeah, I can, watch this. So I would just like train myself to like see how fast I could get my horse going and jump off, or I learned how to do a backflip off my horse. I can do handstands on my horse. Like it's all whatever
Like
I could do to basically You're my family, yeah.
I was about to say, you're like every parent's nightmare child in that sense. Like, great, all he's trying to do is kill himself in front of me.
That's correct. That was my constant goal.
You
So
kind of mentioned something, and I think at some point in life, Sterling, all of us have that, the grass is greener on the other side. I want that city life. I don't want to live, and I don't want to be a rancher. I don't want to be a horse trainer. There is something about how you're brought up. It just teaches you and instills a value in you that we all tend to come back to later in life. But I think when we're able to appreciate that stage of life, right? And like you said, you've kind of gotten the best of both worlds, though. So you left that ranching life, you moved out to Hollywood, you've been successful in your acting career. Talk about that transition of like realizing there is a piece of me that belongs with a horse. There is a piece of me that missed it, and now you're kind of coming back to it recently.
yeah, I know the exact moment that it happened, which was I did a movie. I don't know the exact year. I was in a movie called Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, and Oscar-nominated film. I want to say it was like 10 years ago. And because I was in that movie, I got invited on a promotional. Audi was doing a thing where they flew a bunch of actors to Aspen to a polo match. And I was drunk most of the time. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like surrounded by famous people and really successful people. And I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, what is this? And then I had this beautiful blonde lady walk up to me and say, I heard you ride horses. You should come play polo. And I was just like, sure. Who are you? Like, I had no clue who I was talking to or anything. Turns out it was Melissa Gansey, who owns the largest polo club in the United States, Grand Champions Polo Club, as well as Aspen Valley Polo Club. And long story short, I got on a horse and started hitting the ball around. And I was just like, and they were just like, wait a minute, you've obviously ridden before. And I was like, yeah, I've ridden a lot, but I haven't ridden in a long time. It's been a long time since I had been on a horse. And so, yeah, so that's how I got started. She was like, I think you should come play more often. And I was like, done, So it was about 10 years ago that I reconnected to the other side, or this side of horses. It's no surprise. Like, I do believe that life is constantly trying to get you back home somehow and return you back to where you started in a way, not necessarily physically exactly, but so I'm not surprised that I've ended up back into this horse world. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Well, listen, riding horses and scaring the heck out of your parents is one thing. Playing polo, to me, I don't understand how you play polo and not fall off your horse. So you might accomplish both at this point one day, Sterling.
I've fallen off. I fell off at a goal once. I was playing in Miami. We played Miami Beach polo, literally on the sand in South Beach, and right in front of the W Hotel. And there was a goal, and it had just rained, and the ball was really sticky and not. You couldn't you had to kind of putt the ball along, and I got it all the way to the goal, and I didn't get it in. And I had a defender who was about to knock it out, and I was like, there's no way. And I was like, the only way I can get this goal in is if I somehow do like a Stretch Armstrong kind of a move to push this ball in. And I got the ball in, but it came at the cost of me falling off my horse into the mud. It was perfect. Like, how often do you get to do that? So all my training of throwing myself off a horse came in pretty handy.
See, exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's kind of talk about playing polo. And then I'm so excited that this is actually your first Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championship that you're going to play in. So I'm so excited to welcome you.
Thank you.
Talk about the game in general and really the athletic ability it takes to be a polo player, because it's not an easy game to play.
Yes. And I am far from the person to be advising on this, because I have to be completely honest. I am not a good polo player. I mean, I would hate for any of your listeners to like show up to see this actor guy play and they'll be like, that's it.
Stick to acting.
Because
Is that what you're saying to expect?
yeah, let's just say I'm a far better actor than I am a polo player. But I just happen to be confident on a horse, and I occasionally they let me hit the ball, and I hang out around the goal, so I get the points, you know. But it is a athletic challenge, I would say. And again, I shouldn't disqualify my abilities. I just compare myself to the greats. I mean, I play alongside Nick Roldan and Jason Crowder and you know Mark Gansey and Grant Gans, all the Ganseys. Like they're just such badass polo players, and I see them play, and I'm just like, wow, what? It's just like watching like the most impressive, beautiful ballet that I've ever seen. And then yeah, and then when I get on, I'm like, I don't think I look like that. But I'm trying, and that's all I care about. It's like I often describe my polo ability as like the guy on a dance floor who can't dance, but he loves to dance. That's me on a polo field. Like I love playing polo. I'm not for sure. I know I'm not as good as those folks that I mentioned, but at the same time, I have a blast, and I think that's all that matters. Like, but as far as the athleticism of it all, it's truly impressive. You're on a 1,200-pound animal going 30 miles an hour, hitting a ball slightly smaller than a softball, but bigger than a golf ball with a 5-foot stick. And the precision that it takes from your eye to get that ball off the ground is one that I still shock myself when I hit the ball. I'm just like, wow, I did it, you know, and it's just such a satisfying feeling to hit that ball. And especially when you can hit it far, and that's when it's really fun. But starting, and you know, you don't aim to hit the ball far, you aim to become a good polo player. And because it's a lot like golf, and in a way of like, you just got to chill out, and that's when you'll get the good stuff. And it's hard to chill out when you're like,
competitive and in the middle of a game.
yeah, but you got to quiet the voices, keep your eye precision, know exactly when to swing, and then hope the gods are on your side.
I love it. Well, let's talk about Team USA Pride. I know you're a huge advocate of the LGBTQ community, and I'm sure this is a huge honor for you to play with this team. So tell me about the team and what we can expect to see from you.
Yes, I am an advocate. I didn't ever think I was going to be an advocate, and somehow I was just like, growing up, I grew up, you know, like I said, in Texas, in a highly religious area where you couldn't have the ability to say your truth. And if you did, you would get the shit kicked out of you, or you would just get persecuted. And so I didn't ever really have that luxury of having a normal life that most people will have. And it really shaped my adulthood in a way that I was like, oh, I got to work out these anger issues. Otherwise, I'm just going to be like, you know, an angry person. And I'm not. I'm like a very loving, happy person. And I found the best way to work out all these issues is to advocate and to, you know, teach people that we're around. We're never going to not be around. Gay people, LGBTQ people have been existing from the beginning of time and will always be around. And the more you resist us, the more we're going to persist. So like, we're fighters. Have found ways to survive for as long as human history has ever existed. And I am happy to be a part of that fight. And when you see things like Pride USA and like, you know, the Bentley Championship adding a Pride team, it feels really nice. And I'm not here to make like, I'm not here to like, you know, picket and be upset and everything, because it's not what it's about. It's a celebration. And people are, you know, it's like, you know, when someone says, well, why don't we have a straight team or something? It's just like, no, you're missing the entire point. It's just like, be lucky you don't have to have a straight team. I don't want to be on the Pride team, but we have to do this kind of stuff to show people that we exist and that we're not afraid of you, and we're going to be around forever. So it's it's truly an honor. I love the sport, polo sports, for embracing the LGBTQ community so much. You know, we have through Grand Champions Polo Pride tournament there, and I know a couple other clubs do Pride as well. And that stuff matters. It matters because in my mind, my entire goal for advocating is to give, you know, an opportunity to realize there's nothing wrong with him and or her, and that they're completely normal and that they were created this way for a reason, and to love themselves, and everything is going to be okay regardless of where you're from, regardless what your parents' religion is, or whatever your religion is, or whatever you've been told about being gay is wrong, and blah, blah, blah. Like, none of that is true, and I am the person that can speak from that because I am that person personified. I grew up in a highly religious area, and everywhere I looked, I was told that I was wrong and I was a sin and I was going to burn in hell and all this stuff. And it was just like, and it hit me when I was around, like, I think around 12 or 13 years old. And I was like, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm like effing perfect. Like, I'm great. Like, nothing's, and so it really just started like at a very early age. I had, and granted, I had supportive parents, and a lot of kids don't have that. And so I'm their parents now, you know, and I just want one less kid to commit suicide. That's my daily goal, is just to have one kid be like, you know what, I'm going to stick around because I'm going to figure out a way out, because I am that example.
Good for you. I'm a huge proponent of mental health and take care of
Yeah.
ourselves. And so that's huge. Good for you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Before we leave, Sterling, I know you probably got some practice to do, and, you know, make sure you're hitting those balls straight, sideways, or into the goal at least.
Towards the goal.
Towards the goal.
Yeah.
What are you, I know I'll just call you out. This is actually going to be your first time to Scottsdale. I cannot wait for the city to welcome you. So typically I will ask you what your favorite Scottsdale vibe is. I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about? I'm sure you've heard about Scottsdale at this point. So what are you most excited about when you come to visit here?
I know that Arizona is a vibe
Yeah.
because I was just shooting in Arizona. I can't talk about, wait, because I'm on a SAG strike right now. So I can't like talk about what I was shooting, but I can say that I was shooting a movie there. I won't get in trouble for that. I was recently in June, right before the strike happened, I was shooting a Western in Tucson, Arizona. And my father's he actually grew up in Tucson as well.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was like full circle because my dad was an extra in a few John Wayne movies, like, because my dad had horses. And so they would ask my dad to come bring his horses so he could like ride around in the background of a John Wayne movie. And here I am, his son, many years later, doing the same exact thing, except I'm not an extra this time. But no, it was very full circle. And so I really like, I'm not gonna like compare Tucson to Scottsdale, but I'll just say this, that the entire Arizona vibe fits me very well. There's something just breathtaking about the desert, the temperature that just is so beautiful until like around 11 a.m. And then from 11 till about 4 o'clock, you could actually just die if you're out in it too long. And then after that 4 o'clock, it just becomes the most beautiful evening and picturesque areas that I've ever seen. And you know, I've been out in Phoenix before, and Phoenix is awesome, but this little pocket of Scottsdale, I'm excited to see what you got there. But I love Arizona. Like, it's just such a vibe.
Hidden gem is what I tell everyone. You can come visit. Please don't stay, because I want everyone to come visit.
Yeah,
but
don't add to the traffic.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's a beautiful place. We are so lucky to call this place home. And you're going to realize people have horse farms in their backyard. I mean, Scottsdale is home to the Arabian horses. We have a massive Arabian horse show here. Your dad would fit in perfectly. So you are actually going to be like, wow, I feel like I've been taken back to my childhood in a sense because of everything that you're going to see here.
Well, that's actually what I'm looking forward to the most. My entire family is coming to the event.
Oh, I cannot wait to meet.
Like, literally all of them. Like, my mom, dad, sisters, nephews, great nephew, niece, everyone's coming. Like,
Oh,
so I'm rolling deep with the Jones family, and it's gonna be exciting to
it
have
will be
everyone
exciting.
there and stuff. Will you be there? Are you
Oh,
going?
gotcha. Absolutely. I'll be there Friday and Saturday. So yes,
Okay, great.
definitely get together and meet.
Is it a 2-day event or just one?
Friday will be all a media day. So I'll be all up in your face again on Friday. And then Saturday is
Okay.
the actual big event. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I think I play 10 a.m. Saturday morning, so that means no drinking for me Friday night.
Okay. I'll have your seat
Which
ready
is
next
how I
to
judge
you.
life. Of like, where can I fit a margarita in my life? Pretty much.
It's that what we
So,
have to do mules now, right? It's a must, isn't it like mule season for like the Derby and stuff like that and horse
oh, is
races?
that what it is?
We're going
I
with.
used to be such a mule. I love mules until someone told me this is gonna like not. This is such a Debbie Downer story, but I found out how many calories
Yeah.
are in a Moscow Mule, and it was equal to a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, wait a minute. So I just switched to double quarter pounders pretty much. So um, yeah,
It's much
because
more filling actually when
yeah,
you
it's much more filling, no hangover, no headache. But yeah, anyway,
I love it. Sterling, best of luck to you and Team USA Pride. We're so happy to welcome you with open arms to Scottsdale and as well as the
thank you.
12th annual Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championship.
It's an honor. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't
All
wait.
right, best of luck. Stay tuned, everybody.
Thank
We're
you.
got a calendar of events coming up next. When it comes to family-friendly dentistry, there's only one place in Scottsdale, and that's Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry. Teeth cleaning, innovative, pain-free laser dentistry, teeth whitening, root canals, and really any dental need you may have, Dr. Rob and his staff at Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry can handle it all. They're more than just a dentist, they really are family. We've been going there for over 3 years, and my family loves them. When your kids get excited to go to the dentist, you know you've got a good one. Dr. Rob DeVito is the only dentist in town that can handle it all. Give him a call at 480-990-1905. You can find him on the web at drdevito.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard him on the podcast. All right, Scottsdale, don't forget to go get your tickets to the 12th annual Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championship happening next weekend, November 4th at WestWorld. Of course, we'll have Ricky Cooper and Sterling Jones there along with their teams of Wales and US Pride Team, but there's going to be so many more. You can check out the description on the episode of this website to find the link to get your tickets or table service and so much more. It's fun. I have been for the past couple of years. It really is a time to shine. Get out your fancy hats, your nice dresses, go out there and clear the divots. It's a good time. You're going to enjoy it, I promise. But for you, ready for Halloween, I cannot believe it's Halloween already. It's coming up this weekend. The Spooky Safari here at the Phoenix Zoo is happening, and you get to come just for $15 per person. Get your kids dressed up. There'll be a night of trick-or-treating, face painting, exotic animals, and more. It's happening this weekend at the zoo, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. So 3 opportunities, and for $15, sounds like a great deal to me. Or if you need an adults-only night, who doesn't? Go check out the High Noon at the Haunted Saloon at the Fairmont Princess. Get your cowboy boots out, cowboys and cowgirls, for a boot scootin' boogie at High Noon Saloon. For just $25, you can enjoy a night of specialty crafted cocktails, maybe with a little magic in there, as well as beats by DJ Outlaw, and of course, a costume party. All of that for just $25. Again, this is all in the description of this episode. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.